And also, there might be serious allegations being discussed, but I'm also going to discuss the surrounding context. And by God, a lot of it is just a clown show. So why not honk at them? And I'm going to be honest, I think you can sum up this video as another episode of holy shit, these people are stupid! Please go outside and talk to a human being. Thank you. Sorry about another drama video. Really what pushed me to make it was I was working on this stuff forever at this rate, thinking about finishing or not finishing, but there's a hater in my soul that's burning, and a lot of the other stuff I've been working on, it's just, I have not been as motivated to make. This has some anger as an energy vibes, you know? I just saw this constantly blowing up in the background, this little war about has-been hotel between the haters and between the people defending it. And it was getting way more extreme, way more escalated than it need to be, given that it's just a show. It's just a show, guys. At the end of the day, it's just a show. Okay. And the fallout is predictable, yet disappointing, as people on both sides are weaponizing it instead of coming together and being like, yes, let's be more careful with Discord servers. And the main subject of today's video is Limus. A ballistic bread tuber makes video essays about essentially confirmation bias. They've honestly been a pretty obnoxious figure. You weren't really allowed to criticize them because they always had some kind of victim shield. I initially saw the only video anyone cares about from them about angel dust, thought it was bad. Also saw the harassment and said, that was worse than when I made a video discussing it. However, I also felt something wrong. She was grabbing screenshots of like everyone she could find on Twitter who said something mean about her, and she was milking it a lot, weaponizing it to claim a fandom is collectively bad, which, I mean, in this case they are, but I've seen these red flags before. Some people seem like they take their entire identity and base it around others being mean to them so you can pity them while they're terrible. Debunking her false allegations in the past, calling Brandon Rogers a financial groomer specifically, and despite constantly saying she's sick of the has-been hotel community, that was the only one she interacted with, and she was hostile 24/7. Oh, Alex, stop being petty and talking about her personality. You should talk about the actual allegations. Well, she was never told to, hey, maybe stop being an annoying asshole no matter what someone says to you. She just treated these groomer accusations from a few months back in July like they were anything else. Something she could dismiss, deflect, act like a whiny jerk about, etc. So that's not really debunking the allegations, and her personality, whether she is or not, it makes people believe she is just because of her response alone. So yeah, it is very important. They might not be a predator, but being a narcissist who can't fathom being wrong or empathize with others brought them into this situation, and failing to evolve never got them out of it, that's for sure. So are they guilty of being a predator? It's a YouTube Discord server, so bad things happen. On one hand, the doc actually backfired in some ways. It showed that she was diligent about censoring certain inappropriate discussions, which is, you know, all you can really be expected to try to do. As much as trolls like to gotcha people online, blaming a server owner you don't like for missing, I don't know, user farter dart sex joke on July 26, 2022, that doesn't actually make the owner a pedophile. I know this is something the internet needs to be told for some reason. It's very alarming, honestly. On the other hand, you are responsible for your actions. In between an entire channel dedicated towards talking about how hot characters are, with minors running about, advertising the entire server as being a safe space for minors specifically, and acting weirdly bratty and stubborn about fixing the problem, there are red flags. So, I don't blame people for calling her that. We're gonna get into all of that today. If you like animation, sub to allocations. Hopefully this one will be the last time I make a video like this for like at least a year. Probably not. Now, this is a Google Doc, and we're in 2025, so we should know that these things are ass, and they are notoriously terrible by now. 99% of this document was so bad it would have actively backfired if Limus didn't go out of their way to, well, let's just say be Limus.
Page I read about. Did you say want?
This is a real page from the Google Doc. I am not joking. The most criticized segment of this said doc was when it tried alluding to Limus being a hypocrite for not wanting to talk about Kendrick and Drake's beef when it was dying in November of 2024. You know, when it was getting really overplayed, annoying, and people screaming, "Mustard!" Yeah, I don't want to ever hear about that beef ever again. It was fun while it lasted, and you know, it's cool seeing Drake get owned. That's all cool and all. But oh my god, it did get annoying. But honestly, another thing that people don't address about the document is there's a direct contradiction to the times where the document owner condemns Limus for not suppressing talking about pedo-related discussion and basically telling kids, yeah, brother, you better escape from there getting groomer vibes. Either she does suppress discussion, and why do you feel uncomfortable about pedos? Is it because you're one? Or why aren't you suppressing talking about pedos? That's not appropriate. Like, you can't win, okay? It's impossible. Come on. That's not fair at all. However, there are some good things, good points sandwiched in between absolute nonsense. Because honestly, the thing is, a lot of this stuff actively made me think, it's kind of normal, like, oh, there's so much going on Discord, so many users, sometimes the vibe is to make a inappropriate joke that you regret and delete later. Like, whatever, it'd probably make it to Animaniacs and no one claimed that show groomed them. But there are some actually bad things mentioned in this document I want to go over, because most of it is absolutely fucking garbage. I mean, like, some of this stuff is pretty silly. Like, all can be forgiven. Some of it does get suspicious, especially when put into context later on. Like, you're saying that Marco Strange was bad, you're also an adult posting even worse stuff. Let's be real. I mean, first of all, Limus advocated that this was a minor safe space. Weird, and I dare say wrong on any Discord server. It's Discord. It's not a minor safe space. Minors should stop using Discord. Even if the creator of the Discord is well-intentioned, shit happens. But I'm a little questioning of that when there's an entire channel dedicated towards simping towards characters, including calling other people zoophiles for being into the same freaky shit as you are, except you had a dash of exposing it to kids in a simp chat and encouraging people to talk. Anything bad that can or does happen is more on you than usual for actively saying and encouraging minors to go on your channel, which bit weird when your two most popular videos that they'll check it out from are about rape. So a hot take, that's a little strange, don't you think? With the context though, I think the most important thing to discuss is whether or not it's like an innocent mistake, shit happens type of deal. Maybe if you already have a channel talking about how sexy these weird fetishes are, don't call it a minor safe space. Hot fucking take, dude. Keep in mind, nothing was explicit, but there was plenty that was suggestive. Marco Strange. Okay, so there's this one user who I now know, who I was suspicious of at the time, and they had a very one-sided beef with Limus for a very long time. It was kind of strange why Marco Strange was beefing so hard. And this is also where things gets a little complex. Beef started after the 30-year-old Marco did post some pics of Nami from One Piece in that same chat where people of all ages were simping for characters, essentially. The pictures of Nami in question were her normal character design. There was one of her in a bikini. Shame on Marco for that. But also, it's in a chat dedicated to this type of stuff. Limus is an adult who is posting wrestlers in even less clothing and sexualize them. So, even if you're not going to say the characters are dressed in any sexually provocative way, the whole existence of the chat by default sexualizes them. So, oops. So for some reason, which makes Limus look even more potentially guilty, she seemed to be very knowledgeable of the potential flaws with the implications of this entire chat. She was banning Marco and insinuating, but never stating, and sometimes contradicting her insinuations, referring to Marco because there were minors in the chat. And oh, but when we do it, when we post fat, weird wolf furry things showing their butts, it's safe for work, right? Right, that's how it works, right? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. We don't want any evil 30-year-olds participating in this. Only people who are in their 20s and teens for some peculiar reason. I can't get why. I don't know why. Who the fuck knows? In Limus's response, responding to everyone, unfortunately this was several months ago and not for something more relevant, Limus essentially said Marco is a creep, he's a loser, but he's not a pedo. She emphasized this point in her responding to everyone video in the comments section because she called him a creep. It called the non-explicit Nami content explicit. When talking about images means nudity, Limus, can you be fucking literate for 5 seconds? So people were calling for Marco to be jailed because Limus, when you say words, they actually mean something. This whole hypocrisy acknowledges that Limus was understanding what she was doing was wrong. This wasn't even a mistake in hindsight because she was on an entire crusade against Marco Strange for doing a tenth of what she was doing.
He started saying that the images he sent to my server were fine because there wasn't any nudity, and that all he did was share anime girls in my server. He was also gone on record saying that the channel he sent the images to was called Waifu Chat, when in actuality it was called Fictional Character Simpery. The channel consists of people sharing safe for work images and gifs of characters that they are attracted to or that they like. We have made it clear numerous times and in our server rules that explicit images would result in an instant ban. Him trying to diminish what he did made it very clear to me that he's a liar who is willing to twist the truth as much as possible to make himself look better. I do think him saying that he cares about sexual abuse victims is tone deaf given his track record, especially given how he went out of his way to heart transphobic comments about me.
And Marco, he at least apologized and has not done it again. If he does, I'm gonna fucking kick his ass. That's for goddamn sure. But come on, you guys see the point, right? This looks way more suspicious because of this hypocrisy, which a lot of people want to dismiss hypocrisy, but it's very important because if you know what their standards are and you know that they're breaking their own rules, they're not going to listen to whatever anyone else has to say. For example, when I was talking to Limus about this a very long time ago, curious as to why Marco was allegedly this creep, I wanted to know if he was this predator type guy, but they were both kind of in the wrong in this situation, and Limus even explicitly told me not to block Marco because something gooners grow in pairs. Both of our accounts were deleted, so I don't have this evidence anymore, so thank you for reaffirming it in the comments section, Limus. This was all brought up a while ago, and these were red flags, no smoking gun, and I knew if I were to actually go into the server, I'd be like instantly banned, so I didn't even want to try with that. But I was curious to see how bad an entire simp chat for people saying it's a safe space could possibly be. And the thing is like Limus, she desperately wants to cling on to like every excuse of victimhood she can. And she wants to use the I'm literally a minor and divergent, but she's not a minor anymore. So she's like, 30-year-olds, those are adults. Ignoring how like a good chunk of the groomers accused on YouTube over the years have been, 20. Like Cosmodor, Minilad, Zaptai Zero, they've been much closer to 20 than 30, and I could go on forever about them. So it's funny. It's really funny in the worst way possible because this is just another sign of how unaware of the cultural zeitgeist Limus has been. And she thinks this is an own, but it just backfired and people were way more suspicious because why the hell do you have a weird server limit with a simp chat where people over 30 are banned, but people under your age are not banned. That's so fucking weird. I've never seen that before. That has to be like, I don't want to be like a therapist or anything, but is it like from some trauma? Like, I don't get it. I'm not gonna dig into that. That's not appropriate. I just don't understand the motive there. Back to the video responding to everybody. She also tries to paint everyone she dislikes as transphobic. Sometimes she happens to be right, but this is what she has against Marco Strange. And right here, this is her best friend. So which one do you think she was calling transphobic? I think the hypocrisy means that if me or someone I like does something bad, then we're not creepy, stop victimizing us and harassing us. But if someone we dislike does something bad, you're a creep, you're a loser. I'm not gonna say you're a bad loser. Okay, maybe I'm thinking too hard. Maybe the double standard she applies towards herself and her friends against people she dislikes. Maybe it's a one-time thing. Maybe she's not that inconsistent.
You'll also notice that in a lot of her posts and her streams, she really loves using the R slur. In fact, she believes it's not a slur at all, and then it's on the same level of words like stupid or moron. It's a word that she has called me and many others as, which is wild considering I'm autistic.
Maybe it's just a too off time thing. Or maybe it's their entire fucking philosophy. What is this? This is embarrassing.
She curses so much. It's because she's Mexican. Y'all niggas is broke. Y'all niggas. The leader of the Latinx. He talks about them like I talk about Mexicans. Y'all niggas is bums. Y'all niggas is broke. Now the fucking Mexicans over here. Y'all niggas is broke. Y'all niggas is broke.
So back to Limus. I don't really think she's a groomer or a pedophile yet. Not enough definitive evidence. There is some that could release, and I think more importantly, depending on Limus's response, that's gonna another response, realizing that it wasn't just a couple of idiots on Twitter.com. It was, just to prove, maybe it was just self-centered narcissism where she thinks about herself and doesn't even think about how her affections affect other people by free from her. That's so much better. However, she is self-aware enough to know that everything Marco Strange did in a server that was facilitated to do and encourage exactly what he did, and sometimes way worse than what he did. That's probably a bad thing. It's probably a bad idea. It's not good. I should ban this 30-year-old. But 21-year-old, 14-year-old, you can do that all day. That's cool. That's awesome sauce, dude. She emphasized thinking it was going to make her detractors look creepy and weird, but she never said pedophilic, to be fair, and disturbing since they're dealing with kids. Once again, she never wants to call him a groomer. Don't you think this all looks way more suspicious now? Because I wasn't entirely sure if it wasn't for this Marco Strange stuff, because she should be self-aware enough. Like, seriously, when I saw this entire thing go down, I knew it would come back to bite Limus. Because how could it not? You're a YouTuber who makes videos about cartoon rapists with your minor safe space where you say how a 30-year-old is too old and defiles the good name of her lusting for random characters but totally safely channel. But 20-year-old YouTubers on Discord, that's fine. Fine around the kiddies in that context. This is also why I think Limus and the group just have no awareness of the current cultural zeitgeist, at least the one on terminally online shit like this. They wouldn't be bragging about being 20 years old and banning a 30-year-old as a YouTuber with a Discord server, like, for doing the same thing you were doing around kids. You are waving around red flags at that rate. Just makes you look so much more fucking suspicious. Like, I don't know, there's a brain in that slime. Like, I think the sludge operates on instinct and reaction without foresight. Or, I mean, it's slime. I don't know if it has any sight. I don't approve of Sai pedo-jacketing and victim-blaming Limus because it's entirely inappropriate. Because if someone causes problems on a Discord server and you ban them, you did the right thing. She is right in that it's already on thin ice with a server allowing minors mixed with a channel discussing simping.
Also, sexualizing Anya is weird, and I don't think we should be doing that. Okay, bye!
dedicating this much time crusading against Marco for doing 1/10 of what you did instead of moderating that server properly is the worst choice you could have ever made. And here is her response to the doc. Correction, second worst. Why are you doubling down? Limus is the slimy type of bastard who'd get a parking violation and then argue her way up to the executioner chair. She says the evidence for claims of discussing sex toys and making sex jokes are paper thin. The evidence is in the document. It is you saying all of these things. I'm being too harsh because, to be fair, this is the exact kind of discussion I'm talking about when it comes to like, oh, I'm surprised by this thing. I said no, I'm not going to do sex toys. I mean, probably shouldn't bring it up, but it's more forgivable than some of the other stuff because it is related to your YouTube channel. It's a bit of a jump scare. You weren't prepared for it. It's just kind of funny and you just tell them no. Not appropriate to tell people in the server, but once again, I'm willing to give that one a pass. Regardless, I think it's rich coming from misbelieve all victims who frequently got upset with communities for not blindly believing people like Orion, Jaden without enough evidence, both of which, turned out to be wrong too. It's strange to see someone pulling these stunts in 2025 without the charisma to skirt by, as the rest of the internet learned that being this adamant about shaming people for reasonable doubt, lying about allegations, and calling someone else a degenerate because of things they did similar, yeah, we kind of are starting to detect the red flags, pattern learning recognition, okay? Limus has a pattern of behavior, of getting understandably indignant when false claims are levied against her, but not understandably indignant when her false claims are put into question. Notice that? Well, you haven't yet because I'll talk about all this later, but the hypocrisy regarding how weak her accusations are make the accusations against her being pretty well documented also look more suspicious. She later claims that people failed to look at her announcements where she doesn't want to befriend her fans. None of this really disproves the major through line, which is just posting sketchy content around kids and claiming it's a safe space. Hey, I respect you for trying to improve, deleting the bad stuff in the past, sure. But you fixated on the 14-year-old way more than the Google Doc itself did, as far as I can tell. Where you're not talking about the dragon porn likes? Neither am I. That was gross and stupid. Glad we're on the same page. Moving on. Third block, definitely the most disappointing. Limus never learned. The Limus cycle, it'll never end. Limus just somehow turned this into yet another opportunity to get up on her soapbox and preach about who really cares. She does this a lot. This Google document just proved how sloppy you were around the same minor and went as far as to show you, oh, the safe space for minors. I have trauma because my parents died. Final Destination gif? Controlly politically correct self-righteous virtue signalers are secretly as edgy, if not edgier than the people they call out. I'm shocked. The slime who weaponizes everything to argue with people online on the internet all day. Somehow always the victim. Always. Somehow. Despite initiating stuff so fucking much. The person who has this simp channel on her Discord with minors. The person when they're confronted with false claims towards Brandon Rogers with not even denying she falsely accused him, but jokingly said that she'll find more to falsely accuse. How can anybody in good faith accept that these random companies claim the rights to these songs that don't even exist? The Get Out version. Come on, Limus, you have no right to be mad that people believe any allegation towards you since you set forth these precedents. And people let her slide for an embarrassingly long time. Rude 24/7, she's always a victim, blah blah blah. But she responded to this so bad, now people have a great gotcha against her. Side note, it makes me really question how people weren't seeing this for several months, especially given Blackishhhh goes out of his way to defend Limus on any fucking trash-ass take she has went after a 1,000 subscriber YouTube channel called The Op Block, and The Op Block talked about it in his stream.
Did Limus have NSFW in the server? Because if not, what's the issue with the minors? So, here's the thing. A, I have a big thing about having minors in the server. I don't like it. B, it was brought up to Limus multiple times. There's a whole Google Doc, not all of it's perfect. Now, while not everything is perfect, there are suggestive pieces of art in and around where minors can be seeing it. I don't think that that's appropriate. C, it was brought up to Limus multiple times, and Limus had weird feelings about it and begrudgingly said no to it. Again, it's not all like this, right? And I want to highlight something for a second. Hold on, let me see if I can find it.
And there was a discussion of everyone on the planet roasting Limus's slimy fucking ass for the document. But you didn't see that? I don't know, man. I don't know. That's a little suspiciono. Blackishhhh also mentions in his video that he's sick of Limus always complaining and going after randos all the time, which makes it even weirder that Blackishhhh was just so adamant and in denial about everyone talking about Limus's behavior if you agreed with it the entire time. So I don't know what the hell that's about. Speaking of people being thrown under the bus, Marco made a mistake, apologized, and didn't make it again. So, even though Limus was very stubborn about it, and, honestly, I'd say that Marco has been kind of stubborn about it in ways as well, what's the big difference? The difference is it got worse. One could imagine getting out of the same old circle jerk of Vivi Pop bad, Vivi Pop good, I don't give a poo. The response to Limus's response actually had a common consensus. This document might have been bad, but Limus, acting like Limus, which is a screaming, whiny, I'm a victim but I'll lash out at everyone else and provide little to no counter-arguments, made people way more suspicious. It was so bad, it made r/YouTube drama look right for once. How? How do you accomplish that? Honestly, it's more damning to say, these are all lies despite the screenshots being real. Because even if they're stupid in your eyes, just confronting reality as tough as it can be to explain why they're weak arguments and weak evidence, just, you could actually get out of here. Because if you're lying about this part, if you're lying about them being lies and just discrediting them, saying, oh, the people who make it, they're bad actors, everyone's out to get me. If you address everything but the allegations, that looks like you're guilty. Why are you running from the allegations instead of facing them head on? Why are you terminally manipulative? People were able to get away with it when it's instead of addressing any of Sai's arguments, they were just oh, you know what's cool? I'm just gonna look up some ancient slurs you said. And it worked for a while, but you can't just approach everything in life with avoiding accountability. That's embarrassing. Thing is, I would tell you need to learn how to take either criticism or serious doubts in your character, but clearly you seem to know that you do with all this behavior you present. You just don't want to. People say Limus called upon a 14-year-old. I guess you could qualify this screenshot as that, and she's definitely too immature to put up proper boundaries or be listened to, and it's not a testimony. It's signs of the one-sided parasocial relationship the kid has with Limus. Cody, the 14-year-old, interacted with Limus's post about, well, it says what it says in these screenshots.
It made
Reddit
comments right. How did you manage that?
One of the creators of the doc, StrangeMazeVisitor, does respond, and most of their stuff is on Tumblr, which is surprising because I didn't know people still use Tumblr, but whatever. So naturally, the thing they were emphasizing was the thing I kind of was alluding to, which was the interactions with one specific 14-year-old that are a little suspicious because it seems like they just do not want to leave Limus at all. These suggestive posts, I gotta keep liking them, which is annoying. Eventually, they stop interacting with Limus, as I'll show you later. But really, it should have been Limus who put her foot down and, just stop them, You feel me? You feel me? Yeah, I'm sorry, I've been a little quiet. Anyways, I will be criticizing Blackishhh's video next because his was sloppy and did not go into enough detail. So this is a good summation. In case my video is still too sloppy or chaotic for whatever reason, this is a good summary. If anyone is interested, just pause the video. Once again, there's plenty here you can pause. Obviously, the document's creator's perspective is pretty important. Blackishhhh is another YouTuber who doesn't just want to focus on Has-Been Hotel, but the algorithm has cursed him. I've shown how, let's just say, edgy these videos are. You just look at them as like comedic reviews. They're actually really good. Now, despite the lack of organization, he can prove himself to not just be funny, but to be relatively analytical. The only Has-Been review I've seen that has made me be like, wow, this shit is ass. So I was kind of disappointed by this video because, once again, he is pretty sloppy in general. This video that he made, which was several months after the initial allegations, this video is a mixed bag. It's kind of flawed in serious ways. If you don't know this situation, you just know that he's talking mad shit. Like, the only thing you can really tell is that Limus made a bad response. In the middle, he shows some screenshots of the document proving what it's actually talking about specifically. He really should have went into some more detail instead of being terminally online and stalking randos' entire Twitter profiles. Like, I mean, if you're gonna do that, at least connect it to the main topic, like, I'm doing. Now, I'm just as petty as Blackishhhh in this video, and I'm also making jokes, so why am I not a hypocrite? What's the main difference? Well, the real difference is that the video itself is not really the problem. The video coming out this far after researching any fucking Twitter rando's opinion on anything, stalking like dozens of tweets from no-named accounts, yet you're expecting us to believe you have not heard about this document until the beginning of September after 2 months. Trust me, it gets more and more suspicious. Last issue about the video itself incidentally obfuscated the real issue is that whenever people bring up, should we pronoun the predator correctly? I'm not even going to get into the argument itself. It's just the fact that people are paying more attention to that argument and typing essays about that when no one really seems to pay much mind to the predators after that. Like, all of the longest comments are about gender, so why are we talking about this? This should not be what we're talking about.
Not because he's trans, but niggas like this, what is it, bread tubers? People that try to be bread. When this dude get big, all I'm saying is I'm not gonna be surprised. That's all I'm gonna. I would thought he was just a fat.
It's kind of weird that no one knows about this until recently. I digress. Wait, I don't digress. This guy was in that conversation about Limus, defending Limus, saying you gotta stop picking fights about the document exposing Limus. Wait, no. I must be making it up. Misremembering. Let me double check the footage I screen record much later. Oh my god. He deleted it! Oh my god.
What a fucking Weasley little liar.
Okay, this went from bad to worse. This is getting suspicious. Why are some of these commenters pulling this card? Pretend like they're deleting their own comments that did know about Limus's document. They're now deleting the evidence that they knew about this What is going on? I mean, end of the day, egg cheese enthusiast is some random guy, but if Blackishhhh did something similar, if the community is doing something similar, that's kind of scary. But to be fair, Blackishhh's personality is more lackadaisical, so it probably heard something like, oh wait, a Google.com Limus drama, blah, probably those has-been stands. That's a lot of words, I don't want to read that. I mean, to be fair, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I can do that with Blackishhhh. Speaking of suspicious, like less than 10 hours after Blackishhh's video, they go back to beefing with Sai. Okay, to be fair, it's probably more like Sai went back to beefing with him. Now calling Sai, I guess insinuating they're a groomer. And some of these points are really stupid. This is not the gotcha you think it is, like, at all, my guy. You were just going after Limus for posting Instagram, their public Instagram, on their About page, which you probably should have known for at least a year at this point, and you're only deciding to check out now. And you called it porn, even though it was suggestive. You have rape in big bold letters on your thumbnail. You randomly reply to people by just shouting out molestation. Yeah, cum chalice jokes don't seem as explicitly pedophilic in connotations as that, now does it? What are you fucking... This is on the same post! This isn't even a day apart! This is the same fucking post! That you're saying that Sai's a pedophile or something, because there were, I guess, like 2 weeks ago, some other people were making Yonderdev cum chalice jokes. Also, I just decided to click on the person they're replying to for about 5 seconds, and all of their posts might as well say, I am a minor. I don't know the difference between credit cards and driver's license. You made yesterday, like the day before this comment was posted, and
Went out of his way to heart.
you made an entire video emphasizing how Limus calling it a safe space for minors, you know, the channel that talks about rape, is a bad thing. You were like, that's a bad thing, but you know, this comment comparing the word rape, talking about drinking cum and a server with minors in it, is wild. Why? Because rape is not something we should hide from minors, and consent should be taught from a young age. I'm a victim, and for years I did not know what it was. You can't tell me that fucked me up, for fuck's sake. I'm disappointed. What, so are we gonna open up another fucking minor safe space and talk to the kids about rape? Is that the idea? You guys are so fucking dumb. Who wants to get their supplementary Fell For It Again awards? Even ignoring the brash assumptions. Are we really going to look at this thumbnail in good faith and be like, yeah, I'm sure this is just about educating the youth? Okay, sure, buddy. And also getting mad at Limus for getting upset over petty internet randos is really funny when you're making an entire segment about a guy who retweets things that disagree with you. But, I mean, it would be one thing if you actually kind of looked at what they said. Because, let's be real, if you had time to look at Limus's gangle take and the response to that, and you had time to go over people's entire history on Twitter or going in advanced search options, you probably could have found this, okay? Let's be honest. Remember, almost an entire month prior. These guys need to get their fucking Sai Scribbles hate boner out of the way, at least for this situation, because they already are focusing more on Sai than Limus. Like, they've basically already forgotten about Limus. Just, you guys look pathetic doing that, okay? Like, I'm gonna criticize Sai Scribbles next, don't worry. But you guys don't look good doing that. Actually, let me go on about Sai for a minute. She just replies to everybody, and it's just turning genuine arguments of like, who knew about Limus being a groomer and when, into just these petty gotchas that are so menial. They just don't make sense on either side. They're pointless. She brings up that, yeah, I brought it up here, but why didn't you bring it up in the video? But why didn't you bring it up when you were friends? Okay, all that I care about, and I think all that normal people would care about, is, did you A, know about it and still defend Limus? Or B, did you know about it and sit on it to weaponize it when it's convenient? Otherwise, you're probably fine. Both sides are just weaponizing Limus potentially grooming children as a way to gotcha people. This shouldn't be a gotcha. I mean, throughout this segment, I'm going to throw out a lot of evidence that kind of indicates that Blackishhhh might have known about this for at least a month, given what he's interacted with. But even if he doesn't know and he generally just I'm not listening, or just got distracted or whatever, it still proves that he's way too sloppy to ever really be talking about serious stuff like this, and this comment says it all better than I could. The priorities are just genuinely off. Pink King's video about the situation, though it wasn't really something you'll use for citations because, as he mentions, he's not an expert on it, is much better than Blackishhh's, mostly due to the amount of respect he at least puts on it and just the efficiency of putting out his thoughts. Once again, it's not really informative about the document. He says so much in the comments, but most of said comment section is just people predicting, oh my god, Sai Scribbles, she's going to do something bad and she's going to weaponize this. Oh, why are your priorities like that? Why are your priorities more concerned about who will win in the battle between two purple 15,000 sub channels? Why is that the big issue? You guys need to chill with the Sai hate boner. It makes you guys look actively worse. When someone gets groomed, you're like, you know who the biggest victim is? The brave has-been detractor keyboard warriors. That's who we need to give a fuck about. Sai was right for once. We're gonna die. Like, why is that your big concern? The worst part is this specific comment section wasn't even reacting to anything. It was preemptive.
No, but are we just gonna wait around until he does?
Like, I mean, Pink King's video mentioned her, what, twice throughout the entire thing? And it's not just on Pink King's videos. This guy is in every has-been comment section ever, and he made a similar comment on Blackishhh's video. He's like in every single criticism-related comment section. So clearly it's the center of his solar system. So Limus turning out to be a bad person hit one of his planets like an asteroid. He's playing damage control, reshifting the focus on Sai Scribbles preemptively. As soon as he hears about Limus having a gross minor safe space, the most unself-aware part is him telling others, yeah, you guys aren't focusing enough on the victims. You're gonna just use it as an own, aren't you? While spending more of his comment, using it as an own. In an argument that hasn't happened yet since it's all written in future tense. Weaponizing one of your side, being a potential pedophile for what? A gay furry hell show? This is as stupid as the frickin' leftists on Twitch infighting, but at least there, who cares the most for Palestine could be important if they didn't resort to just trying to dox each other and imply that they want their audience to kill each other. But I'm getting off topic. I would say touch grass, but the grass is probably allergic to you people, and I'd remiss that people are indeed weaponizing it against has-been detractors as well. Are you happy now? Some people on the internet are bad like you expected, even though you're the exact same. Hey, maybe we shouldn't be so focused on the stupid opinions about the gay furry hell show, and maybe just, think, wow, this person in an isolated way did something bad. Once again, the most we can really do is figure out if the people who were associated with them actually knew of this behavior, which gets a little unfortunate. Because in general, there was plenty of discussion about it. Blue Sky, Twitter, and tweets that I'm pretty sure were involving Blackishhhh in conversations via quote tweets. Some small little things like YouTube videos that he responded to, as I showed you the clip for that earlier, but once again, how do you respond to a video and then you're shocked by something that was in the video? You apparently had an entire post detailing what you disagreed and agreed with in the video. People that you were showing you were annoyed by on Twitter in your weird little tangential tangent, that's a little redundant, I digress, were actually questioning why you weren't bringing up Limus on August 11th. 1 month later, they were directly telling you about it in a conversation you already should have been alerted to about it. It's very contrived that you didn't know about Limus until a month later. It's very contrived at this rate. There is just, especially given how much you pay attention and let tweets get under your skin, this is absurd. Like, I give benefit of the doubt, but it's getting really contrived, dude. It's getting really contrived, dude. And to emphasize, yes, this person is quote tweeting Blackishhh's banned Twitter handle, as you can see here. So there isn't much excuse. This Blackishhhh, he's always been He's always paying attention to these guys. He's paid attention to the op block. He's like going through tweets on Twitter. He should know about this. This has been a very long time coming. The thing is, I wouldn't have any idea what his motive for uploading it at all in September would be, especially since he didn't use it to soften the blow like at all. I mean, respect to Blackishhhh there. Too many people are like, well, my friend Zaptai, he's a cool guy. Let me just crop out where it said that their victim received nudes. Maybe soften the blow. He's a cool guy. No, he went for the jugular, so mad respect there, you know? But I don't get it. There's no way you didn't know about this for a month. Did the video take a month? Was this like something got in the way? I'm still confused. Especially since you wrote a dissertation on someone else's video who was actually going into a little bit of detail about this entire prospect of Limus's Discord. So this would have been the perfect opportunity to bring it up. Genuinely lost. Sai Scribbles has been defending Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss for a while, and they don't like Limus, and that caused Limus to assemble the Avengers, and they've been beefing for a year, and they're both awful, and I hate everyone in this situation now. But even though she's overhated, she still should be hated, you know, if you catch my drift. Anyways. I'm sorry, I just vomited a little and turned into the Indothoraptor. And yeah, that was Lily Orchard dressed up. She talks about Lily Orchard a lot. And if the fans of Limus learned anything, it's that just because they talk about something you dislike a lot, that doesn't mean they're a good person or even smart. It just means they can go after easy targets. Like, come on, guys. Sai rabbit hole is way deeper. You could even say it's a lion's den.
They might find your body in a mark.
I don't like it! Touches.
I am still the
Wow. I could probably talk about her myriad different, like, infinite number of replies that always make herself look worse. It was tough enough to get enough about Limus before they imploded, but Sai Scribbles, basically the conflict started because she saw a bunch of reviews, she thought they were bad, she responded to them in live streams. She was pretty damn insulting every time, and one time she ironically sent a raid, which, what's wrong with you, dude? What do you mean that you still sent a raid? It still happened.
Oh my god, you guys want me to raid Limus just to be an asshole? That would be pretty funny. Not finding them, though.
At this rate, all of this stuff was over the, once again, admittedly terrible media literacy takes. Because yeah, okay, Limus's content does suck, donkey poo. But regardless, obviously, Sai kept taking a lot of this stuff too seriously. She was deflecting all of the criticism of the entire series with regards to Has-Been Hotel. She's saying, oh, a lot of it's because of misogyny. Dude, we're having bigots join forces with pearl clutchers just to defeat the evil gay furry show. Obviously, it's not just misogyny. I mean, I think the show's overhated, but I mean, people from every background hate this show, okay? Let's stop pretending otherwise. The beef really escalated when, instead of arguing about cartoons, they found out that Sai said some pretty bigoted things in the past and kept calling her old, which she gets way more offended about being called old than being called a bigot for some reason. But yada yada yada. There's so much, dude. It's just, it goes on forever. While I make fun of the teenagers who are barely legal at 19 for just, you know, seeming like they completely missed out on the early 2020s culture from seeing all of this shit crumble in the exact same way, Sai has the opposite problem and still thinks she's stuck in it, expecting "debate me bro" to work every time. Not only did it bring this terminally online group together to argue on Twitter genuinely all day, block each other, then talk about each other behind blocks and sometimes unblocks new accounts, blah blah blah. I'm not keeping track of all this stupid ass shit. None of this matters, but what matters is that everyone was able to, go out of their way to find every gotcha they could, whether it's on Sai's Discord, and meanwhile just ignoring everything that is brought up that's a little concerning about Limus. This situation, the only person I respect for at least the first half of going after Sai just due to consistency is Blackishhhh, because he wasn't a pearl clutcher who was either platforming or doing the same thing that everyone else was offended by. He just didn't like the hypocrisy on Sai's part.
Censor out one word instead of just saying the N-word. She'll say retard, stuff that would be deemed as ableist, right? And here's the thing, right? And that's coming from me, right? I don't care, right? I don't care if she says, puts out, like, bleeps out one of the words. I mean, obviously, I think she's racist, and that's not gonna change, obviously, I still think she's racist, and she could have literally just put N-word, but she didn't. My problem is not even just the racist thing, it's the fact that she'll say that, but then bitch and moan when someone says queer, which is like, is that not the Q in LGBTQ? She'll bitch and moan when someone says that, or literally any slight thing about a gay relationship, she'll bitch and moan and say homophobic, or this, that, or you're misogynist. But she'll be fine to use anything else that people would deem offensive, or like neo pronouns or shit like that.
I do find it funny how Limus just goes on assuming that everyone who accidentally misgenders them even once is a transphobe, but then they start misgendering people intentionally as well as an own, but it matters less on our end. In terms of the battle of pearl clutchers, it's so impossibly hypocritical, I can't even keep track. Once again, on Blackishhh's end, if you're going to be an edgelord, at least don't be a pearl clutcher. So he was just going after the inconsistency, so respect there, even if I don't necessarily agree with, all of the edginess, but whatever. But all of this is way too much context for the next big own people are trying to go after Sai after Limus was exposed. People are desperately coping and trying to say that Sai's Discord is just as bad as Limus's and she's just as predatory, and it's not great, but comparing it to Limus's Discord is a disservice. Okay, let's just say if there's going to be a case against Sai, it is not as deep in progress. Sai doesn't do herself any favors replying to stuff like this. This doesn't make you look good. Why do these people keep outing themselves with their owns? One thing is, on the server, this was apparently taken out of context, and the proper context was that Sai was not victim blaming the groomer. Sai was blaming people for trying to have someone unrelated to the situation keep track of something they should have been keeping track of, like basically wanting a free bookkeeper. That's a bit different. Cum chalice jokes seem like they are a little inappropriate, like it's nothing compared to Limus's server. Though if you're gonna pull up this screenshot blaming server mods because other people said something a while ago is an impossible precedent to keep up, like you can't be perfect in deleting literally everything. Fact that it shows up in searches is just obviously bad faith, you trying to gotcha people. I'd say something on this level is definitely something far more concerning to worry about, especially if you participate in it. No, like that's just what Hopeless Peaches got canned for a few years back. But in terms of sending porn and an NSFW server that she deleted anyways, I haven't been able to find any significant evidence for those things, so I'm not going to really talk about those. It looks like Sai has some red flags, but once again, it's nowhere near the Limus stuff. You'll see later I did a deeper dive. I actually went into Sai's Discord to find what I could because, I made the mistake not to with Limus, obviously. So far, it just looks like literally every Discord user's sloppy ass, not very well held together, but also impossible to properly, perfectly moderate Discords where things do slip through. Also, I'm just gonna, at this rate, everyone hates her enough that I'm just gonna wait for some terribly written Google Doc to come out before I can push my own opinions. As for now, it looks like it's kind of a red flag, but nothing more than just a flag. And similar to Limus, whether or not their Discord is a hive for scum or villainy, they're kind of obnoxious. And trust me, Limus has always been a problem, allegations about the Discord or not.
And I'm so angry at myself for not noticing this, because Limus never gave me any signs to be concerned over their character.
Sorry, that was mean, I just had to. This is the part of the video that was most of my research. All the stuff that came before the fallout that I was just talking about for the past hour. Because these are the signs that Limus was bad. Yeah, okay, a lot of people were talking about, ooh, Has-Been Hotel, hell of a boss. To be fair, yeah. More people should just focus on Limus just being a bad person. And unfortunately, a lot of it did have to do with that community because Limus just became fixated with that community. And I guess rage baiting them. But even ignoring that, there's just a lot of red flags. And anyone telling me there weren't any, and then trying to gaslight my ass into saying, oh, you guys only talked about and focused on Hell of the Boss and Has-Been Hotel. No, we fucking didn't. Okay? No, we didn't at all. I basically took a moratorium on that show and franchise in part because on YouTube I was just so sick of hearing it. I'm sick of Has-Been Hotel. Let's talk about some things only vaguely related, because as I mentioned at the start, the hypocrisy and all of these other moral double standards imply Limus knows what she does is wrong, but she's gonna do it anyways because she can do it. You can't do it, but she can do it. That's how the rules are in this slimy little place we called Earth. Limus's world, at least. Get as far from Has-Been as possible. Let's go to a server that Limus was not the moderator of. One, I'm not going to disclose because I don't want to drag these guys into this drama, okay? They don't deserve that. But anyways, Limus not a mod here. But she always called for the mod. Mod Haraga! I'm getting harassed in an argument I instigated for the 30th time in one day. Ah!
What?
No, alright. I know that sounds bad.
How does this get worse? I wasn't even looking for that at the time. Then she was banned because she kept doing this and it was annoying and no one seemed to care too much. Moving on to the next thing. Anyways, Limus has a guilty until proven innocent mindset, which means that anyone who randomly accuses you, they're automatically in the right, and you're a big meanie if you, I don't know, want due process and want actual proper evidence, which is kind of ironic, given, you know, what happened earlier. Back to that server, for some reason she was also applying this logic and getting upset that in the past, quite a person who was accused of rape, who in turn turned out to be a domestic abuse victim and was not a rapist. For some reason, Limus was like upset that first of all, that people online were doubting the accusations, which honestly, it was mostly people siding against Quite immediately. Like even the little things such as, oh no, Quite closed his server, he must be guilty, and it was like just to prevent raids and not deal with this crap. So, but the weird thing is like you're doing this now after he's already been proven innocent? Why are you like giving empathy to an abuser who just lied about who was abusing who? That seems kind of that's a weird stance to take, all things considered. You know what happens when you normalize just believing accusations without evidence?
Last thing I want to mention of this video is that he also repeats a common false claim about me that I helped bully Has-Been fans who related to Angel Dust off the site. His evidence, if you can even call it that, is his source, which is just a Discord message from a censored account. Funny enough, this is the same type of evidence that Has-Been fans get mad about when it comes to claims against VivziePop, but if it's with me, then I guess that's okay. He does show a screenshot that is meant to be evidence of me bullying an artist by the name of Vanilla Brown Sugar off Twitter for their drawing of Val Angel art. This tweet wasn't even in reference to Nilla. There is no evidence that it was related to Nilla. I have never spoken to Nilla before or after what happened. They have me blocked on Blue Sky even before this happened, and their Twitter account is deleted, not privated.
You know, I'm sure after getting falsely accused of stuff without evidence on their own, they'd take a little bit of humility and, you know, not accuse people falsely without evidence in the future, or not, you know, respond to allegations with evidence dismissively. Oh, they fucked up both, didn't they? Damn it. She also just started randomly accusing some guy for some Sonic art of being homophobic because I don't even think Limus knows.
I warned you.
I don't really understand why Gax put this in the video as some sort of gotcha. It's not that big of a deal. Was my tweet dumb and unnecessary? Absolutely. Hence why I deleted it along with the rest of my Twitter. It just feels like this was only included to pad out the runtime. It has become so evident to me that Gax has very little substance on things that I have done, so he needs to include stuff like this. You could use that time to give actual mature criticisms and arguments about my actions online, but instead you need to reach with tweets that do not matter in the slightest. It shows how desperate you are to try and expose me.
Okay, I mean, the pattern of behavior kind of checks out. So there's that, and also the random false accusations and being extremely impulsive. And hey, maybe the impulsivity can save your ass, and you can use it as an excuse to explain why you're completely innocent in the Discord. It's a mistake you're never gonna make again, you know? So, I don't know, you could probably thank me for telling Gax to put that in his video, or you could say that I'm helping spread phony evidence after you just fucking admitted it was real for like a 3-minute long segment. That is one strategy you could use. You know, enough looking at amazing Fell For It Again award memes and being petty as shit. This is a pattern of behavior. It's just a footnote. Limus is at least right on that. Is that on its own, it doesn't really matter. But the pattern of behavior is concerning. Like, I mean, come on, how do you mess up making fun of Verbalace? The problem wasn't that he's not paying his animators, it's that he can't afford to pay them anymore because he paid one of them too much. You're making it seem like this guy's screwing his animators, but whatever. Once again, footnote. Another pattern. There's a lot of patterns I'm seeing, but a footnote in behavior. So the biggest thing that has been fans actually accused Limus of doing that was a seriously bad thing was the false accusations towards Brandon Rogers about financial grooming when it was never brought up. Victim in question explicitly didn't want it to be framed that way. They were going around telling people not to say that. Limus was very stubborn. She thought she was really smart because she's like, oh, it's not regular grooming, it's financial grooming. I've already proved that this isn't what financial grooming is. The average Clippy profile picture on their way to get their mind blown because of the concept of multiple definitions, but didn't actually read any of them to check if they were right. That's kind of hilarious, actually. I discovered the concept of financial grooming was completely different than what was being described in the allegation. Financial grooming is apparently the act of basically gaining control of someone's assets and being the only one with access to them eventually. Brandon Rogers scamming a kid over the price of an edit. There are people who claim that they agreed to the terms and they agreed to dealing with it outside of these DMs that were presented. There's also a second part of these allegations, which everyone was confused by because it was kind of tough to follow. It was all very censored, so we don't really know exactly what happened, but basically Brandon Rogers didn't want to see a teenager at a con because they were acting kind of strange, and they were like, please guards, don't let this kid near me. That's it. Like, this allegation was a big old nothing burger that no one could really get anything from. Is Brandon Rogers guilty of something else? I don't know. Bring that up instead. Maybe prove that instead in the future, but for now, the way people acted and reacted to this, people just knee-jerk, especially Limus, say, oh, harassment, they're being harassed. I didn't see anyone harassing this kid in this situation. Everyone was really patient, but they were also explaining, we can't do anything with what you provided, okay? I mean, Limus obviously can't understand the most basics of nuances. I mean, just look at this glorious exchange. Stuff like this is exactly why I want to bring up you just randomly calling people homophobic because you don't know why. Like, you're just impulsive. You make a serious and sensationalize an initial allegation to be worse than it really is. And what do? You're like, I don't know, I'm processing, I don't know, I'm just saying shit, I'm just pulling shit out of my butt, I don't know. Don't look into my server, by the way. Like, I mean, it just feels like, I hate to be that guy, but it feels like Limus is just like, ooh, I hate Has-Been Hotel and everything surrounding it. Ooh, a new drama. I can weaponize this against them. This is sick shit, man. This is sick. The word choice is always specifically chosen to just demonize whoever Limus dislikes as much as possible. Self-indulgent Limus cycle just makes me really concerned that they're not going to learn the right lesson and they're going to just come back and nothing's going to change. Hopefully I'm wrong. I think this was a big enough piece of backlash that it might knock some sense into them because they've been coddled this entire time by hordes of people who don't actually care about Limus's content and just weaponized her as a nice little martyr against the evil Has-Been fans, which in hindsight is actually pretty depressing. Limus's content was 90% not Has-Been Hotel. They didn't upload that much, but most of their videos were not Has-Been Hotel. And the fact that it seemed like people only knew her as the martyr against the fandom, and that's how they saw her, that's all they cared about, it's kinda sad, dude. It is really kinda pathetic in hindsight. And her leaning into it and just instigating shit constantly online, and people just seem to always fall for it and be like, oh, this person hates thing I dislike, I must defend them when they are revealed to be bad. Oh, you dislike Sai Scribbles, you must be a Lily Orchard stan or something like that, you know? It's just the same thing. Same thing. Same shit. Different tune. What does all this have to do with anything, you know? Well, I mean, first of all, we're talking about accusations, and I'm talking about giving people the benefit of the doubt. And guess what? I'm doing that to Limus this video. They got a slim benefit of the doubt. Everything's looking bad for them. Every time I find something, it looks worse for them. It looks more intentional for them. It looks like they've thought of every fucking precaution possible, but they just didn't do it for some reason. Maybe the dates don't match up. Maybe I'm just a silly Billy. But, you know what? Limus, you don't offer this to other people, but I'm gonna be the better person and say, I'd say you're innocent until proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that you're guilty, okay? Maybe you'll learn a lesson. Probably not. And that's another thing, is even if Limus is proven to be innocent for that, that doesn't automatically mean they're a good person. They've been sleazy, self-indulgent, they've been manipulative, they constantly instigate and then crawl over there. They just cry and cry and try to say everyone else is the bad guy. They start the fire and then they whine when the house burns. Every fucking time. Little insurance fraudster over here. And you can be like, oh my god, she beat the allegations. Has been. Shut the fuck up about Has-Been Hotel, everyone. Seriously. And if you're gonna talk about Sai Scribbles, don't be weaponizing it for this stupid little back and forth. Actually talk about Sai Scribbles, get that shit organized. I'm not doing that. This was hard enough. All this research, I don't want to do this again. So, what's the take-home message? You should definitely at least reflect on your actions and who you defend. Think about the signs, don't ignore them, don't bury your head in the sand of deflection. Instead of, oh wow, this point would have been better, but this commenter made a comment on Limus's video on Has-Been Hotel that was smugly mocking her for a career crash speedrun. I called them out for constantly defending them when confronted, and now they're acting smug after they hopped off the wrong horse. Unfortunately, that comment got deleted. I think this guy keeps deleting his Limus Defense Force comments and then acting really smug about Limus's downfall. Is this a pattern? This is funny, actually. That actually adds to my point even more. Creators don't get platforms. You and the audience, you are the platform. People were saying how bad Limus was, but how toxic was their platform? How suspicious were they for a year? And having the audacity to act surprised about a Google Doc that has existed for months, about server problems that have existed for years, people talk about accountability. You, the audience, you need to take accountability. Sometimes you back the wrong YouTuber, which is okay. If they're always the victim of a million situations, somehow, like they're a nobody channel, and they're somehow getting into this much drama, and you say la la la, I can't hear you over the has-been fan tears, when people who actively hate Has-Been Hotel are also shitting on Limus, such as a Cheeto or Gax. Like, when people bring it up, maybe, just maybe, Limus isn't always the victim. Maybe you should wake up. Think of the actual priorities, people. Limus is a symptom of a bigger problem here, and these mistakes will be repeated unless people realize it's not just about sides. Maybe you shouldn't defend someone proudly falsely accusing someone you dislike even if they beat their own allegations. Maybe everyone should be introspective about their allegations. Not to be a condescending asshole, but I'm gonna be a condescending asshole and point out that this is a long YouTube video with intense opinions in 2025, and all of your attention spans are definitely fried, so I'm going to just put a summary for all the people in here and my thoughts. To Blackishhhh, there's a time and place for everything, and a time and place to take stuff serious. I know Google Docs are stupid, but if you hear your friend has one with serious allegations, don't wait this long to talk about or even look at it. You should be more meticulous when discussing this type of content. Do research and definitions on terms. If you're going to go on tangents, if you're going to make jokes, please at least connect them in some way to make the main points work. Please at least make it comprehensible to someone who has not seen the Google Doc, so they know the main reasons you're accusing your friend of being a pedophile. And also, my shortest segment in this video was talking about the details of the document. I just had to go through the highlights of it. It's pretty simple to just explain what you think is important, and of course, about the document. I'm sure there's other stuff that other people thought are worth addressing, other stuff people disagree with addressing, who knows. To the Pink King, I mean, generally just good to doubt anyone, just double check things you hear. Best to put a moratorium on the Sai Scribbles stuff for a minute because your comments are just going crazy. You came out looking the best in all of this though, so unlike. Speaking of Sai Scribbles, to Sai Scribbles, stop the obsessions. Stop arguing with any commenter on Twitter you disagree with. Stop talking about weird sex stuff in a weird way smugly when it's not common sense because it's very strange the way you talk about it. But also get your priorities straight. This whole mean YouTuber over opinions on cartoon shtick, it was always mean and not even in a smug cool kid type of way. You look like a loser constantly attacking people who are pretty innocuous and respectful about their opinions, like Artis. Stop trying to be a politically correct activist if you can't help yourself from saying slurs and making edgy sex jokes around children on your server. Moderate your server better, please, and don't respond to everything with snark. It doesn't help you. As for Discord in general, now for the idiots who are just using it as random gotchas when they talk a big game of why didn't anyone expose Limus and make a big deal of it earlier? Well, they're also just using out of context screenshots to gotcha you instead of exposing you properly. You should be thankful for their, let's just say, nearsightedness. These screenshots do kind of look a little bad.
Look, underboob. You're too young to be looking at that because you're 17. You're gonna get a porn addiction. You better run.
I think you should definitely correct your own behavior. And if some of the things I've heard are true, someone's gonna organize them in a way that makes you look as bad as Limus. Fortunately, from what I'm seeing, a lot of it does seem to just be conjecture by idiots who seem to cope that their side was more degenerate than the people they hated. So you might be in the clear for now, but even if you're not, I just suggest trying to, cover your bases more in the future. To the community, get your priorities straight and stop weaponizing this to virtue signal.
Who the fuck is
About a show, dude. And yes, the has-been fans just as bad. Even if you claim to be better or neutral, you're still doing exactly that. But don't make it your top priority to maintain the dignity of the has-been fandom or hate them. That's actually so undignified, it'll probably appear in a documentary down the road because you all fucked this up so embarrassingly. And speaking of who fucked it up so embarrassingly, to Limus. Everything I said about Sai applies to you. So, just copy and paste that paragraph. But you also keep spiraling even harder than she does. Mediate on your responses for once. Don't obsess about things you hate. Accept L's instead of digging your feet in the ground to double down, whine, or lie about them because you lie a hell of a lot. Stop applying double standards. Usually I say that because I find serial, unabashed hypocrites really annoying. I'm telling you this because the double standards of morality make you go from someone who looks like an idiot to someone who knows what they're doing, knows it's wrong because they point out how wrong it is when other people do it, and you know what, makes you look like a pedophile. Just gonna be blunt. Most important advice, because it makes you look like one, respond in the format, the good YouTuber response. No editing, talking solemnly, not lashing out, lots of good receipts, lots of good evidence, breaking down the context, piece by piece, explaining why it was a mistake. Bunch of coincidences you didn't think about, not predation. 2 allocations. Discord thing isn't worth it, blood. You can't know for sure that everyone in a Discord is a minor because verification is trash, so you gotta end up acting like a paranoid parent all day, banning and deleting posts, so you avoid turning out like one of these guys' trash ass servers. But probably won't matter because you're gonna miss something because people on Discord are weird and you can't delete everything. Some stuff will slip under the radar. You can't know every suspicious keyword to search in a Discord. And they're gonna be like, is this you? With any old screenshot they can muster. So fuck it. If it's gonna happen anyways, let me know of any posts you think seem sus that I should address and delete. Or maybe get rid of the whole fucking server, who knows. Hopefully everyone learned something from this. Probably not. The internet never learns, but it always remembers.